Hey guys, I wanted to make a video going over some of the NA and EU teams that I think Bjergsen will end up on after the 2019 season. His contract with TSM is ending this season, and while it's probably likely that he will re-sign with TSM, there's also a pretty high chance that this will be his last season due to how many times he's tried and failed with TSM. I think he would have a really good shot at going to a different team and making them a top contender. So here's my top 5 list for teams that Bjergsen will end up on after the 2019 season. So at number 5 we have FlyQuest. Right now, FlyQuest roster is Viper in the top lane, Santorin in the jungle, Pobelter in the mid lane, and then Wild Turtle and JJ or Wadid as support. So I think this roster definitely has the opportunity to be competitive with Pobelter, which I think is going to be one of the deal breakers for Bjergsen. He's always wanted to be the best. He's always wanted to win. He probably has the most drive out of any player in the North American LCS, and that's just been shown in the past. So I think he's going to pick a team in which he believes he can do well on. He's worked with Wild Turtle before, and I know he's really liked him based on what I've heard in interviews. And he's worked with Santorin as well. I'm not sure if he has a very high opinion of Santorin, but overall I think this roster definitely has the talent to attract Bjergsen, and also the only major purchase they've had recently is what did. Wild Turtle isn't the most expensive player, Pobelter isn't either. Viper was probably got very cheap because nobody really believed this Riven one trick could be a great top laner, but he's got Rookie of the Split now. So I don't think they have very many expensive players, and they could be competitive with Bjergsen. They've also been doing some more content recently and gaining a lot of fans with their recent 4th place finish. So if that translates to more income, they could have the money to make a great offer at Bjergsen, and he might just take. So for number 4, we have Fnatic. Currently, Fnatic's roster is top Bwipo, jungle Broxa, mid Nemesis, bottom Reckless, and support Hylissang. I definitely think this is a competitive roster as it is, and Bjergsen may just be an upgrade over Nemesis. I feel like if Bjergsen could go to any team, regardless of how much money he's getting paid, Fnatic would probably be very high on that list just because of how competitive they are. EU is probably the best region in the world right now, and Fnatic's the second best team in Europe. Bjergsen wants to win, that's what he's always been about. Also, Fnatic has a big brand, so they have a lot of money to spend, but they have spent a lot of money recently. Nemesis' buyout probably isn't very high because he was a player from a minor league, so he probably wasn't paid very much, even though he was a known commodity. Everybody knew Nemesis was going to be good once he got to the main European LEC, but I don't think he's getting paid very much in comparison to someone like Perks or Caps, or even like Nuke Duck. So his buyout probably isn't that high either. So Fnatic theoretically could buy out Nemesis' contract and make an offer at Bjergsen and probably have money left over. The only downside to this is since NA is significantly weaker of a region, maybe Fnatic is probably unsure of how Bjergsen's skill will translate over. Is Bjergsen really a great mid laner, or is he just a great mid laner for NA? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, at number 4 I have Fnatic. So for number 3 we have CLG. Currently they have Ruin, Wiggly, Power of Evil, Stixxay, and Biofrost. Now I don't think this would be a giant upgrade over Power of Evil. I think he's a great mid laner, but Bjergsen brings a lot of shot calling to the table. He's definitely been one of the biggest, if not the biggest voice on all iterations of TSM he's been on. And that's something I think CLG has been lacking in recent years when Aphromoo left for 100 Thieves. I also think that they have a lot of money to spend since Biofrost was picked up really late in an offseason, so they probably didn't give him a substantial amount of money. He was just glad to be playing on a main roster. Stixxay, I think, is re-signed, but probably for not very much. I don't think very many people are going to go after him. Wiggly came up out of Academy, so he's super cheap. So the only real, like, money talk, or the only real people they're paying a lot of money for is probably Ruin and Power of Evil. But Power of Evil's contract is going to expire at the same time, I think. It'll be 2 years from his signing at the end of this year. So if that's when his contract ends, and then he decides to go back to Europe, as a lot of EU players probably will, Bjergsen could be open at the same time, and this could make this move pretty easy in terms of money. But the one big downside is that CLG's kind of been in a slump as an organization recently. They've been getting out of a lot of esports, and it just hasn't been looking good since their League of Legends team went downhill. For teams like this, who were founded and based in League of Legends, they're going to live and die based on how their team does. And recently CLG hasn't been doing good, so they've been losing funds. Are they going to have the funds to go after Bjergsen? I hope so, because I think it would be pretty fucking hype to have CLG Bjergsen. And I think this team would be very good, especially with how they've been showing recently. They're doing a good job with not very much money. So for number 2, I have Clutch Gaming. Right now they have Huni in the top lane, Lyra in the jungle, Damonte in the mid lane, and then Cody, Sun, and Vulcan in the bot lane. I think Huni's kind of been slumping recently, but other than that, this team has a lot of really high highs. Lyra has looked great in the past, especially when he first came over to NA. Damonte is... I love Damonte, you know, he is one of our homegrown NA talents, and he's definitely deserving of a starter spot in the LCS. But Bjergsen's just better than him, and I don't think Damonte's getting paid very much. So the buyout here might not be that much, but the upside is definitely huge for Clutch Gaming. A lot of their problems right now stem from the jungle position, and if you think back to all of the TSM junglers that got neutered, it feels like Bjergsen and Reginald were giving them a lot of guidance, especially with no real coach in Parth, because he was just an analyst. So I feel like Bjergsen could add a lot of structure and help this team out a lot. I don't think Cody Sun's getting paid very much because he came up out of Academy. Vulcan came from Academy. Damonte came from Echo Fox, where he was on Academy, and Echo Fox wasn't doing very good then either. But Damonte could also be getting paid a lot because he's an NA resident. And Huni, I'm not sure when his contract renewed, but if it was recently, he's getting paid less than he was when he was in form. So the only thing stopping me from putting this at number 1 was their jungle situation. If they had a competent jungle on an LCS level, then I think this would be an easy fit. You put Bjergsen in there, and it's a super team, because Cody Sun was definitely like the second or third best AD carry in NA for a while. Vulcan's shown a lot of promise. Huni was the best top laner for a while. So if everyone returned to form, this could be a super team, and I feel like the motivation and dedication that Bjergsen have would motivate other people around him. I think they might have the money to make a good offer on him. I'm not sure if it's very appealing for Bjergsen to go here, but if they make enough money and he wants a fucking lifestyle like that, I guess he could, and I think they would do good with him as well. And so the number 1 place I think that Bjergsen will end up in 2020, if it's not TSM, is 100 Thieves. Currently in the top lane they have Someday/Fake God. In jungle they have Amazing. In mid lane they have Sligo/Ryu. And in the bot lane they have Bang and Afromu. Now, I think 100 Thieves has definitely shown that they want to spend money and do well. And they have been on the upswing recently, but they did have a lot of internal issues that caused them to not do very well last split. A lot of them stemming from their problems with mid and top academy players. They have 3 Korean imports that they want to start, and Someday, Ryu, and Bang, but they only have 2 import slots to work with. Bjergsen is an NA resident and the best mid laner in the region, so it would be really beneficial if they would put Bjergsen in the mid lane, and then they would have Bang and Someday to start as well. So they would have effectively a super team with Someday. I think he won an MVP. He should have won an MVP. Then you'll have Amazing, who's making a resurgence and doing amazing. Bjergsen, a fucking like 3 or 4 time MVP candidate. then you would have Bang, a world champion, and Afro Mu, MSI finalist and MVP as well. So I think that would definitely be a super team, and I think... No, probably didn't coach Bjergsen before. I'm incorrect. But this would solve all of their problems with their imports and create a super team. And they've shown that they want to invest money in the scene with their recent success in other games such as Fortnite and Apex Legends. They're definitely creating a brand out there to make money, and I think that if they reinvest that money into a player like Bjergsen, it will definitely help them. Ryu also has been very unmotivated and burned out at times. He recently decided he wanted to be a coach until Saligo wasn't working out, then he had to come back in. So going from someone with absolutely no motivation to someone who has the most dedication of any player in the NALCS would probably be very helpful. The only downside, and it's far from like huge, would there be too many people talking between Afro Mu and Bjergsen? But I think that easily could be overcome, and with the acquisition of Bjergsen, this team could be amazing. So that concludes my top 5 teams Bjergsen would end up on in 2020 if he left TSM. Thank you guys for watching, and if you feel like it, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're gonna down like my video, tell me why in the comments so I can improve.